All right, so quick question for you. When you left the house today, did you lock the door, grab your keys, maybe even glance at your security camera app, right? Like, we do all sorts of things to keep our stuff safe, right?
Yeah.
But what about the stuff we can't see? All that important data swirling around online. How do we keep that secure? That's what we're diving into today.
It's a question that's more relevant than ever, you know? Especially as our lives become like increasingly digital.
Absolutely, yeah. And lucky for us, we've got a fantastic guide to this whole world of data security. William L. Weaver, he's a scientist and professor, so, the guy knows his stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And he wrote this really insightful piece on data security for scientific computing and Instrumentation magazine back in 2003, actually.
Yeah.
It's the kind of article that makes you realize how much we take for granted when it comes to digital security.
Yeah, he's got a real knack for explaining these complex ideas in a way that just clicks. You know what I mean? He starts by describing his own morning routine and how many security measures he encounters without even realizing it. It's like a hidden world we all move through every day.
Okay, so paint that picture for me. What's Weaver's morning security routine look like?
Well, he talks about, locking his front door, using his car keys, swiping his ID card at work. It's all about layers of protection, even in the physical world, right?
Yeah.
But then he takes it a step further. He says, the most basic form of security is simply hiding things.
Okay.
Remember when we were kids, stashing our prized possessions in a secret spot?
Totally. Oh, my favorite hiding spot was under the loose floorboard in my closet. Top secret, obviously.
Exactly. It's that out of sight, out of mind approach, right?
Yeah.
And as Weaver points out, it has its limitations. If someone finds your map, whether it's a literal map to buried treasure or, let's be honest, a sticky note with all your passwords on it.
Oof. Yeah. Sticky notes. Not exactly Fort Knox level security.
Right.
But it does make you realize how often we rely on that kind of hiding in plain sight approach for digital security too. I'm definitely guilty of that.
Yeah.
But clearly there's got to be more to it than just hoping nobody finds your secret stash.
Right, and that's where things get interesting. Weaver takes us back in time to Julius Caesar and his infamous cipher.
Oh yeah. Remember that from history class.
Yeah, shifting letters down the alphabet to create secret messages.
So like if A becomes D and B becomes E and so on.
Right.
It's a simple code, but hey, it worked for Caesar, right?
Exactly. It's a simple form of encryption called the Caesar cipher.
Uh-huh.
And get this, it's actually still used today. Ever heard of Route 13 online? It's based on that same principle, shifting letters 13 places down the alphabet.
Oh, wow.
It's not for top secret stuff, obviously, but it's great for hiding spoilers or jokes online.
Wow, so Caesar cipher is like the ancient ancestor of online spoiler alerts. That's kind of cool. But wouldn't it be easy to crack if everyone knows the shift?
That's the thing. Caesar cipher and Rot 13 are both examples of what we call symmetric encryption, meaning the same key is used to both encode and decode the message. So if you have the key, it's easy peasy. If you don't, well, good luck figuring it out.
Okay, so the key is literally the key here. Makes sense.
Yeah.
But how did we go from simple letter shifting to the kind of encryption that protects our online banking and all that?
Well, that's where things get a bit more complicated.
Okay.
Weaver mentions a couple of important examples, DES and AES. These are essentially ways to scramble data using specific algorithms. Think of them like digital locks. But instead of tumblers and pins, they use, complex mathematical formulas.
Okay, I'm starting to feel a little lost in the technical weeds here. Can you break it down for me?
Sure thing. So DES, or Data Encryption Standard, was kind of like the first attempt at creating a truly secure digital lock.
Okay.
It was developed in the 1970s, and it used a 56-bit key. Now, that might sound complicated, but back then it was pretty secure.
Okay.
Problem was, as computers got faster and more powerful, they could essentially brute force their way through all the possible key combinations.
So like trying every combination on a bike lock until you find the right one, but way, way faster.
Exactly. That's why they came up with AES, the Advanced Encryption Standard, which uses much longer keys. Right. We're talking 128, 192, or even 256 bits. It's like going from a flimsy padlock to a bank vault door.
Wow.
AES is the current gold standard for encryption. And it's used everywhere, from securing government communications to protecting your online shopping data.
Okay, so AES sounds like it's pretty much uncrackable. So problem solved, right?
Well, not quite. There's
Yeah.
there's a catch with A-way kind of symmetric encryption, even the super secure AES. And that is, how do you securely share the key itself?
Ah, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
it's like sending someone a secret message in a locked box.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have to figure out a way to send them the key to the box without anyone else getting their hands on it.
Right.
Kind of defeats the purpose, right?
Exactly. And this is where the story of encryption takes a truly fascinating turn,
Okay.
one that led to the internet as we know it.
Okay.
But to get into that, we need to talk about something called asymmetric encryption, which is a whole different ballgame.
Okay. I am officially intrigued. Asymmetric encryption. Lay it on me.
Asymmetric encryption, also known as public key cryptography, is kind of like having two keys
Okay.
that are mathematically linked.
Okay.
A public key and a private key.
Two keys. That sounds even more complicated.
It might seem that way at first, but it's actually a brilliant solution to that key sharing problem we were just talking about. Think of it this way. You have this special mailbox where anyone can drop off a letter for you, right?
Right.
But only you have the key to open it.
Okay, I can picture that.
Yeah.
So the mailbox is like the public key.
Right.
Anyone can use it to send you something, but only you with your private key can actually see what's inside.
That's a perfect analogy.
Okay.
And the best part is you can share your public key with anyone you want.
Really?
Post it on a billboard, put it on your website.
Wow.
It doesn't matter because even though anyone can use the public key to encrypt a message,
Oh.
only the person with the private key can decrypt it.
So it's like a one-way street for information super secure. This sounds way more complex than Caesar's letter shifting trick.
Yeah.
How did anyone even come up with this?
It's actually a pretty recent invention, relatively speaking. It was developed in the 1970s, and the math behind it is pretty mind-boggling.
Yeah, I bet.
Involving things like prime numbers and modular arithmetic, but the basic idea is that these two keys were generated together, and they're mathematically linked in such a way that it's practically impossible to figure out the private key just by knowing the public key.
Okay, I'll trust you on the math. But all this technical stuff, how does it actually play out in our digital lives?
Well, think about online shopping. When you enter your credit card information on a website, you want to make sure that information is sent securely, right?
Absolutely. Last thing I need is some hacker snagging my credit card number while I'm trying to buy those new headphones I've had my eye on.
Exactly. That's where something called SSL, or secure socket layer, comes in. It's a protocol that uses this very same public key encryption to protect your data as it travels across the internet.
So when I see that little padlock icon in my browser,
Right.
that means my information is being scrambled up with a public key, and only the website with its private key can unscramble it.
You got it.
Wow.
And all of this was made possible by a development of the RSA algorithm back in 1977.
Okay.
One of the most famous examples of public key cryptography. It's named after its inventors Rivest, Shamir, and Adelman, and it's still widely used today, not just for online shopping, but for things like secure email,
Right.
virtual private networks, and all sorts of other applications.
This RSA algorithm, it's kind of like the unsung hero of the internet, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's quietly working behind the scenes, making sure our digital lives don't descend into chaos.
It really is. And Weaver points out that this type of encryption goes beyond just protecting messages in transit.
Oh.
It can also be used to create something called a digital signature.
Wait, digital signatures?
Yeah.
Is that like electronically signing a document?
It is, but it's much more secure than just, typing your name at the bottom of a digital document.
Right.
Imagine you need to sign a contract online. How do you prove that it was really you who signed it and that the document hasn't been tampered with?
Yeah, good point. Just pasting in my name wouldn't exactly be legally binding.
Exactly. But with a digital signature, you're using your private key to create a unique fingerprint of the document.
Okay.
Anyone with your public key can then verify that the signature is legitimate and that the document hasn't been altered in any way.
So it's like a tamper-proof seal, but for digital documents. That's incredibly clever. But do these digital signatures actually hold up in court? Are they really legally binding?
They are in many cases. The FDA, for example, has specific regulations about electronic signatures in the pharmaceutical industry. They take this stuff very seriously because it's all about ensuring data integrity and accountability.
Wow. So this isn't just some like abstract tech concept.
Right.
It's literally changing how we do business, how we sign contracts, how we interact with the government.
Absolutely. And as we rely more and more on digital systems, the importance of these kinds of security measures just keeps growing.
So what Weaver wrote about back in 2003, it was like he was peering into the future of digital security.
Yeah, it was.
So we've come a long way from hiding things under floorboards to this whole world of complex algorithms and digital signatures.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here? What does the future hold for data security?
That's a great question, and it's one that has experts all over the world scratching their heads.
Yeah.
On the one hand, we've got these incredibly powerful encryption methods that are pretty much unbreakable with a current technology, but on the other hand,
Give me the cliffhanger.
On the other hand, there's this thing called quantum computing, looming on the horizon. And it has the potential to change everything. We're talking about computers that are so powerful they could crack even the toughest encryption algorithms in a fraction of the time it would take a traditional computer.
Wait, seriously? Quantum computers could make all this encryption we've been talking about completely useless.
It's a real possibility, and it's something that security experts are taking very seriously.
Yeah, I bet.
They're already working on new types of encryption that are resistant to quantum attacks, but it's a bit of an arms race.
Yeah.
You know, who can stay ahead of the curve.
So it's like we're constantly trying to build stronger and stronger locks.
Right.
Knowing that someone out there is working on a master key that could unlock them all.
That's a pretty good analogy, and it's not just quantum computing that we have to worry about.
Oh.
Artificial intelligence is also playing an increasingly important role in both attack and defense when it comes to data security.
AI.
Yeah.
So like self-learning algorithms that are constantly getting better at finding and exploiting vulnerabilities.
Exactly. Think about AI-powered systems that can detect and respond to cyber attacks in real time. Or AI algorithms that are used to create incredibly sophisticated phishing scams.
This is all starting to sound a bit like a sci-fi movie, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's both fascinating and a little bit terrifying.
I hear you, but that's the reality we live in.
Right.
Data security is a constant game of cat and mouse,
Yeah.
with technology evolving at a breakneck pace.
Okay, so given all of that, what's the average person supposed to do? Is there anything we can actually do to protect ourselves in this crazy digital landscape?
Absolutely. There are a lot of simple, practical steps you can take to improve your own data security.
Yep.
And the good news is you don't need a degree in computer science to do it.
Okay, I'm all ears. Give me the data security starter kit.
First things first, strong passwords.
Okay.
And I don't just mean adding a random number to the end of your pet's name. We're talking long. Complex passwords with a mix of upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols.
Got it.
And for the love of data security, use a different password for each of your accounts.
Okay, no more using password 123 for everything. Got it. What else?
Enable two-factor authentication wherever you can.
Okay.
It's like adding an extra lock on your digital door.
Right.
So even if someone gets your password, they still can't access your account without that second form of verification, like a code sent to your phone or email.
Makes sense. Double the security, double the peace of mind. I'm guessing those suspicious links in emails are a big no-no too.
You know it. Phishing scams are getting more sophisticated all the time.
Right.
So always think twice before clicking on any links or downloading attachments, especially if they're from someone you don't know or if they seem even a little bit off.
Got it. Suspicious links, straight to the digital trash can. Anything else?
Oh, and make sure you keep your software up to date. Those updates often include security patches that fix known vulnerabilities. Think of it like patching up holes in your digital walls.
Right, because outdated software is basically an open invitation for hackers.
It is.
This is all great advice, but
Yeah.
I got to be honest, remembering all these different passwords and staying on top of updates, it can be a lot to manage.
I hear you. It can be overwhelming. That's why a lot of people use password managers.
Okay.
They generate and store all those complex passwords for you, so you only have to remember one master password. It's a huge time saver and a real game changer for security.
Okay. Password manager added to the list. So strong passwords, two-factor authentication, being wary of phishing links, keeping software up to date, and using a password manager, is that the data security holy grail?
It's a great start. And remember, data security isn't a one-time thing.
Right.
It's an ongoing process. New threats are emerging all the time. So it's crucial to stay informed and adapt.
So it's like a never-ending game of chess with the hackers of the world.
Exactly. And the more you understand the rules of the game, the better your chances of winning.
Right.
And remember, data security isn't just about protecting yourself.
Okay.
It's about protecting everyone.
What do you mean by that?
Think about it. We're all interconnected in this digital age. A data breach at one company can have ripple effects that impact millions of people.
Wow.
So by taking steps to protect your own data, you're also contributing to a more secure digital ecosystem for everyone.
So it's like a collective responsibility. We all have a role to play in keeping the digital world safe.
Exactly. And it all starts with awareness. The more we understand about data security, the better equipped we are to make informed choices.
Yeah.
And protect ourselves and those around us.
Well, I definitely feel a lot more aware and honestly a bit empowered after this deep dive.
Good.
We've gone from hiding things under floorboards to the potential for quantum computers to crack even the strongest encryption. It's been a wild ride.
It has, and it all started with William L. Weaver's insightful article back in 2003. It's amazing how much has changed in the world of data security since then, and how much more is yet to come.
Speaking of the future, any final thoughts for our listeners as they navigate this ever-evolving digital landscape?
I think the most important thing is to stay curious, to just stay informed, and to never stop learning.
Right.
The world of data security is constantly changing, so we need to be adaptable and proactive.
Couldn't agree more. So on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive into the fascinating and sometimes a little bit scary world of data security.
Thanks for having me.
And until next time, keep those digital shields strong.